This is the way.
This is the way.
Thomas here with Much Props, going to give you another how-to video. If you couldn't tell by the thumbnail, this is not going to be your average Mandalorian-style helmet build. I am a teacher by day. For the past 18 years, I've taught at a Title I school in East Texas, and that typically means that a lot of teachers come and go throughout the years. There is not a single person that is teaching there currently that was there when I started. That is to say that I have made lots of friends who have gone on to other things. And I've had the privilege for the past 5 years of teaching alongside another art teacher, Miss Acuff. You've seen me build several things for her. We've gone to Ren Fairs together, Meow Wolf, and a bunch of other adventures, and gotten really close over the past year. I have to say goodbye to her. She accepted a job in Austin, making substantially more money. It's a good school district, and I'm super pumped that she has landed this awesome, prestigious position. And I wanted to make something as like a farewell gift, something that she could either put in her classroom or have at home to remember me by. So I know that Miss Acuff likes Star Wars. On May 5th, we dressed up in Star Wars attire to school, and we're nerding it out together as kids came in. She dressed as Bo-Katan, and I dressed as a stormtrooper. I let her borrow one of my helmets. It's just a black series, and I thought it would be fun to make her one. So I have a 3D printed Bo-Katan helmet that I'm going to use, but I want to make it a little bit different and special and much propsified in all its glory. I also know that Miss Acuff likes disco balls. She has a bunch of them in her classroom. She's got keychains and earrings and a number of other things that are disco ball related. So I thought it would be fun to make a Bo-Katan disco ball helmet. So without further ado, let's build something for my friend to say goodbye. Let's get to building. Some projects are just props, some projects are costumes, and every once in a while a project becomes something more. For the last 5 years, I've had the privilege of teaching alongside one of my favorite people, Miss Acuff. Together we've navigated the wonderful chaos that comes with teaching middle school kids, and somewhere along the way we became much more than co-workers. She became a genuine friend. We've shared countless adventures over those years, wandering through Renaissance fairs, exploring 2 different Meow Wolf installations, playing frisbee golf here and there, working on creative projects, and eating more than our fair share of Mexican food, especially the ones with the squeezed butter in the hot sauce. If you know, you know. She's the person who got me hooked on Adventure Time, and I'm responsible for her getting hooked to Rick and Morty. We've celebrated successes together, survived difficult days, and helped each other through the kind of challenges that only teachers truly understand. Now Miss Acuff is beginning a new chapter at a school district in Austin, and I wanted to create something that celebrated both her love for Star Wars and her obsession with disco balls. So today I'm building a disco ball Bo-Katan helmet. But the more I worked on this project, the more I realized this build wasn't really about Star Wars. It wasn't even about disco balls. It was about friendship. Because when you look closely, disco balls and friendship have a lot more in common than you might think. I started by sanding the 3D print because it didn't look very impressive. It was covered in layer lines through the surface and imperfections. Every curve had little ridges that reminded me how far it still had to go before it resembled the finished piece I had imagined. As I started sanding those imperfections away, I found myself thinking about friendships. The best friends rarely begin as something extraordinary. Most of the time they start with simple conversations, shared experiences, and the occasional joke that somehow turns into an inside one after years. 5 years ago, Miss Acuff and I were simply co-workers sharing the same school building. Neither of us could have predicted that the adventures we'd have together, the projects we'd create, or the many difficult days we'd help each other navigate. Just like this helmet, meaningful relationships aren't formed all at once. They shape little by little, conversation by conversation, and shared experiences there. 100 small moments that slowly transform something ordinary into something special. After sanding came the UV resin. The resin flows into the tiny imperfections that the sanding can't reach, filling small gaps and strengthening the surface area. As I brushed it across the helmet, it reminded me of the role friends often play in one's lives. Life has a way of leaving cracks in all of us. Some are obvious, others are hidden beneath the surface where nobody else can see them. Teaching especially can be exhausting. There are days where you question yourself, days where you're overwhelmed, and days where you're running on little more than caffeine and determination. During those moments, a good friend doesn't necessarily solve your problems. Instead, they reinforce the places where you're struggling. They offer encouragement, they listen, they remind you that you're not carrying the weight alone. Over the years, Miss Acuff has done that for me more times than she probably realizes. I hit the surface with a few layers of automotive primer. Of course, one more round of primer wasn't enough. There was more sanding, more adjusting, and then another layer of primer. That's the funny thing about finishing work. Just when you think you're done, you discover something else that needs attention. Life follows a similar pattern. Growth doesn't happen in one dramatic moment, neither do friendships. Instead, they build through consistency, through showing up, through checking in, through making time for people, even when life gets too busy. The strongest friendships aren't built because anything is easy. They're built because both people keep choosing to invest in each other over and over and over again. Eventually, the helmet was ready for paint, so I hit it with a coat of silver spray paint. At this point, I was still thinking I was painting a regular Bo-Katan. Here's where I decided to go with mirrors instead of painting it like normal. This kind of transforms this helmet into something uniquely hers. Hundreds upon hundreds of tiny mirror tiles, each one only 5 mm wide. One tile by itself isn't particularly impressive, it's just a tiny reflection. But when thousands of those reflections come together, they create something magical. And that's what friendship really is. Not one grand gesture, not one unforgettable moment, but thousands of tiny moments collected over time. A frisbee golf game, a road trip, a Renaissance fair, a Meow Wolf adventure, a shared meal, a funny conversation after a long day. Individually, those moments seem small. Together, they become the story of a friendship. What I've always loved about disco balls is that they don't create light. They simply reflect it. And the best people in our lives do the same thing. They reflect our strengths when we've forgotten them. They reflect our potential when we doubt ourselves. They reflect joy during difficult seasons. And because of that, they help us shine brighter than we could ever do alone. Once the mirrors were finished, I needed to add a hanging mount to the top of the helmet. A practical addition, sure. This is just a simple little Chicago screw type thing with a loop in it, basically. But it also felt kinda symbolic. Some creations deserve to be displayed because they represent something meaningful. The same can be said about certain people. Miss Acuff is one of those people who leaves every place a little brighter than she found it. Whether it's through her art, her teaching, her creativity, or simply the way she treats people, she has a gift for making spaces feel more welcoming. Austin may not know it yet, but they've gained someone pretty special. I know that the school that we work at is gonna have a big hole to fill, and it's probably never gonna be full again. Miss Acuff was the hype man at our pep rallies. She literally brightened up kids' days and was the reason why they came to school. The final step was sealing everything with UV resin, carefully securing each mirror so that the entire piece would hold together for years to come. As I worked around the helmet one last time, I couldn't help but think about memories, because memories do exactly what the resin does. They lock moments into place. The adventures, the conversations, the struggles, the laughs, the experiences that shape who we become. Time may carry us in different directions, but those moments remain part of us forever. Bo-Katan's helmet is a symbol of loyalty, courage, and standing beside the people who matter most. That feels fitting for this project, because underneath all the mirrors and the paint, that's what this build is really about. It's about celebrating a friendship that has made my life better. It's about honoring someone who has shared adventures, supported me through challenges, and brought a tremendous amount of creativity and joy into my world over the last 5 years. Miss Acuff, thank you for every conversation, every adventure, every laugh, and every moment of support. Thank you for helping make the challenges of teaching easier and the good days even better. I'm gonna miss having you right next door to me, connected by a closet to easily pop in and say how things were going, but friendships aren't defined by proximity. They're defined by connection, and the best friendships, much like disco balls, continue reflecting light long after they've left the room. Austin is lucky to have you, and everyone whose life you touch will be a little brighter because of you. I'm gonna miss you. And we are finished. Here is the end result. Ooh, so shiny. I definitely think she's going to enjoy this. It is definitely some Miss Acuff flair. To my friend, it has been a pleasure teaching alongside you for the past 5 years. I have seen you go from a first-year teacher to one of the best that I've ever taught alongside. I know that the school you're going to go to is truly going to be blessed with your skills and talents and just sparkle. And the school that you're leaving will desperately miss you. So good luck to your future endeavors. I wish you nothing but the best of luck. And hopefully every time you look at this and see the shiny sparkle, it reminds you of me. Yeah. Maybe you'll try and make one of these yourselves and impress your friends with your ability to take your favorite hero helmet and make it so shiny that it's hard to look at. Yeah. Maybe you'll get some.
Yay!
And inevitably, they're going to ask you, how'd you make that? You can give them one of these. Tell them, much props. This is way too small for my head, but I know somebody whose head will fit. Gonna miss you, Acuff. Peace out. If you enjoy what I do here on YouTube and you want to see more builds like this one, please consider joining these awesome people listed here with me over on my Patreon to build a bigger, better, more creative community together.